Okay, I just want to talk about this BMX task and some of the mistakes that I've seen happening in your work. So I'm gonna partly do it in the video and partly just talk about it. So the first question, it gives you a table of values and it asks you, an event organizer wants to make a promotional video of the paths on the complex. Can she make a continuous video moving along each of the paths exactly once? Now, a lot of people were getting confused in the first question when they think they need to go to every node. So the letters A, B, C, D, those are your nodes. The paths are the lines in between. Now, the way we do this is we test for traversability. Now, that is about whether the nodes are odd or even. So if you look at, well, before we do that, we need to get our thing drawn. So just in case some people are still confused, this here is all the connections for A. So A connects to B with a distance of 6.7. So my connection from A to B here is 6.7. A connects to C. We go from A across to C with 2.2. So A to C is 2.2. So you go from there. So D, go across F, D to F. Where's D? D to F is 6.0. D to F. So put that on. The most important thing in this first question is not those distances, but the links. So in the first question, it's the links. So once I've done all those lines, if there's a blank, there's no connection between the two. Once I've got all my lines in, I can go down and I can look at whether each letter is odd or even. So here A has 4 lines coming off it. That means it is, I put a 4 there, that is an even node. Here I have 3 lines coming off it, so it's odd. And then to find out whether they can go along each path exactly once, I need to look at whether the paths, how many odds or evens there are. So these are the important notes for traversability. If they're all even, it is traversable everywhere. You start and finish at the same node. So in this situation, that would mean the organizer could make the video from any point and she would end up where she started by going along all paths exactly once with no repeats. If there was 2 odd nodes, it's traversable for only from the odd nodes, and you start at one odd node and you finish at the other. So if this was the case in this one, she could start at one of the odd nodes, film along all the paths exactly once, and finish at the other odd node. And if there was more than 2 odd nodes, it's not traversable. So in this situation, she would not be able to travel along all the paths exactly once. Anywhere, starting anywhere. If we look at our situation, I have 2 odd nodes on B and G. So what I need to write to answer this question is I need to use, first of all, the word traversability, that I know it is traversable. So the network is traversable because there are exactly 2 odd nodes. You can start at one odd node and finish at an odd node. So that's the first thing I'm going to write. I'm going to write that I know it's traversable, and that I know it's because it has exactly 2 odd nodes, and I know that you can start at one odd node and finish at the other odd node. Now I'm going to relate it to my situation. The event organizer can make her promotional video by moving along each path exactly once. She will need to start at either B or G and finish you need to start at, I'll say, so she'll start at B and finish at G, or start at G and finish at B. So you relate it to your situation, and then you're done. You don't actually have to show the path. That's all you need to do for that question. Okay. Next question, shortest path. So we need to draw one of these diagrams to work out the shortest distance. Now you must draw this diagram. If you do not draw this diagram, you will not get marks. So if we look at A, we need to put in all the possible routes from A. The first one's easy because you put in everything. Okay, I'm going to work my way from the bottom. So I've gone A to E. Now after E, the only place to go is to F. So the only place to go from E is to F. And now if I look, E to F is 1.2. E to F was 1.2. If I look here, that's 3.1 and 1.2 to get to F. Here, F is just 2.9, so it's already longer even just to E. So I'm going to ignore this one. It doesn't make sense to include it. Now if I look from F, F can go to C, D, or H. Now if I look at from A to F is 2.9, F to C is 2.3. Here I could have just gone straight from A to C in 2.2. So there's no point in doing F to C. So I'm just going to do F to G and F to H. You could also go to D, but then the only way back is to double back to F, H, and that wouldn't make sense either. So the distance from F to H is 6.9, and the distance from F to G is 4.8. And then from there, I can go straight from H to I, and I can go straight from G to I, so that's what I'm going to do. Doesn't make sense to go back to H again from G, so I'm just going to stop there. Now I'm going to look at C. I've got myself a bit crammed up. So at C, I can either go to D or I can go to F. Now again, it won't make sense to go to F because 2.2 and 2.3 is more than the 2.9. So I'm just going to go just to D. From D again, it doesn't make sense to go back to F, then to get to H, I can just go straight to H. So my next one will be H. So D to H is 3.2, and then finally from H I can go straight to I, so it's 6.5. Finally, I'm going to do the B route. So B, I could go B then to D. I'm not going to go B then C because that wouldn't make any sense. B to D. After D, there's only one choice that makes sense again, and that's H. And after H, there's only one choice that makes sense, and that's I. Okay, what I've done is I've added them all up, and now you need to think which one's the shortest. That's pretty easy. The shortest one is this one, and you need to explain the route. So you need to then say shortest route is A, 2, and then I'm going to follow it C, then to D, then to H, then to I. Then you have to write the total distance. The total distance of this route is 15 kilometers. You must remember to include your units. I'm going to run out of space on the worksheet for that, but I'll just make it smaller and squeeze it in. Okay, I can squeeze in off the side a little bit. Okay, and finally, minimum spanning tree. easiest part. Well, it takes less work. Traversability is the easiest part, but this one's pretty straightforward too. Alright, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make my minimum spanning tree, which they ask you the least total distance over all networks that connects all the points. So, using a highlighter or a different colored pen, look at your network and start with the shortest route. So my shortest route here, look at all my numbers, is 1.2. Now you might make a mistake because it's really hard to see, so you have to be very careful. Next is 2.0, that's the next shortest route. Now I have 2.2, 2.3, do I have any other 2 point somethings? So next one, 2.2. Next one, 2.3. Now, the next one is not 2.9. 2.9 will create a loop. You do not want a loop. So I'm not going to go with that. There's no other 2 point something, so I'm going to go 3.1. Now I'm not going to use this 3.1 because again it'll create a loop. So I'm going to use this 3.1. Now I need to look. I've got a 4, but that'll create a loop. So I don't want this one. Oh, I got a 3.2. Almost missed it. So it's very careful. Gotta be very careful. So 3.2. And then my next shortest one is going to be this 4.8. And then the next shortest one is 6.5. Now I'm just going to take a minute, check have I got all my nodes in. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I. Everything's connected, so I'm finished. So I'm going to redraw that over here. So my minimum spanning tree has a line from B to D, from D to C, C to A, C to F, F to E, F to G, D to H, and H to I. And then what you need to do is you need to write in which order you did it in. So I included the route that was 2.0, and then I did 2. Oh no, I did. Sorry. Actually, I'm going to write the letters in. So the first set of letters I included was EF. Then I went and I included BD. Then I included, so after BD, I included CF. I didn't include CF next, I included AC. It might be easier if you number it as you go along, but the next one I included was, okay, so I did all the order in which I included them in, put all my distances, they should be in chronological order, so they should be going in ascending order, they should be getting bigger, and then add them up, so my total distance is 25.3. And that makes me finished. There's a little bit of a problem with my first question, but that's the whole thing together.